In one corner, we've got AI, fast, free, and always on. In the other corner, the pro copywriter, bringing strategy, soul, and serious conversion power. Who wins when it comes to authentic copy that converts? Let's break it down in the ultimate showdown. AI copywriting versus professional copywriter. Hey, I'm Allison Carpio, a copywriter and messaging strategist, and I help purpose-driven brands write words that sound like them and sell like crazy. Now that the gloves are off, let's take a real look at what each contender brings to the table so you can decide what's best for your launch. And if you're DIYing your copy right now and you're feeling stuck, I created a free copy starter kit with a link below. It'll help you get clear on your messaging before you write a single word. First, let's take a look at what really matters before you launch. Because no matter what you use, whether it's AI or a professional copywriter, if you don't have these 4 things in place, it simply won't convert. So the first one is strategy. You need to know who you're speaking to, how your offer solves their pain points better than any other option out there. What are the top alternatives anyway? Why is what they want now possible when it wasn't before? And how can you build that hope that what they want is actually possible for them right now with you? 2, emotional resonance. People buy when they feel something. You need copy that taps into their hopes, their hearts, their hesitations, and their desires. Why is now the time to take action? How can you, again, help build that hope? 3, you need personalization. When your copy sounds authentically like you with your unique POV, people will feel like they know you and you understand them, and that is what builds trust with you. Remember, your POV, your messaging, your story, your positioning, and your voice evolves as you do. So you always want to make sure that is kept fresh. And then finally, a conversion strategy or CTA strategy. Your copy needs to lead people towards action, not just sound pretty or clever or fun, playful, casual, whatever your voice is. You need to know when do you want to offer up your lead magnet versus a direct sale, or even both. These are very strategic decisions that either AI or your professional copywriter needs to make. The tricky part is AI often struggles to do all 4 of these things at once. It may not know your audience. It may not know your voice. It may not know your positioning. And even if it does know your positioning and all of the above, it still will miss the mark, because I can tell you that I have been training my bot for almost a year now, and I've given it everything and it still misses the mark, and it just needs my guidance and my feedback. All right, let's look at that head-to-head AI versus pro copywriter. So when it comes to speed, AI is super fast and a copywriter will be efficient with context, but not nearly as fast. So AI definitely wins in this category, no doubt. Copywriter is a human. They need rest. They need breaks. Now, when it comes to those 4 things we talk about, let's break it down a little bit before we fully declare a winner, because there are some nuances here. When it comes to strategy, like your messaging and positioning, AI won't know that right off the bat. You have to feed that to it. Whereas a pro copywriter, that is what they are specially trained to do. And when I work with clients, I always have time built out where it's the messaging and positioning phase, and that is all we are doing in that phase before we write a single word. You can collaborate with AI on the messaging and positioning, of course, but you need to be inputting strategically what they need to know, what assets they need to know, any interviews you've done, who their competitors are, and so forth. Voice. Well, we all know that AI doesn't always get this right off the bat unless you've trained your AI bot. And even if you've trained your AI bot, sometimes it still misses the mark. Sometimes my bot will say things where I'm like, where did this come from? I would never say this. But the copywriter will download your voice and a copywriter will get that. It's very unique. It's very aligned. But again, you could train your AI bot, but you kind of need someone giving it that feedback and review. Emotional resonance. So AI is a bot. It doesn't have emotions. And even though people are falling in love with AI bots these days, it still doesn't always quite get that emotional resonance, especially the emotions that you might want to be hitting. It can be very service level, especially to start. So often you'll need to give it more of that feedback, that guidance. And the thing is, AI doesn't really know what stories to tell. It could make up stories, which isn't great, but you know what your stories are. A copywriter can pull that out of you. And a copywriter is more story driven, more emotionally driven, because they have emotions themselves and they've been trained to know how to relate in copy. Finally, the conversion focus. Now with AI, it's kind of hit or miss. It doesn't really know when to use what CTA. You kind of have to give that to them. And by default, it'll just kind of, choose whatever it thinks is right. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. but a pro copywriter really has that clear path to action. They could give AI that guidance instead, which is a lot more reassuring. Strong copy is not a nice to have, especially during a launch. It is a sales tool. And poor messaging means low conversions, a confused audience, and wasted traffic. When your copy lands, everything else clicks. Clarity, conversions, and connection. When I worked with a client launching a program that teaches nonprofit leaders how to do fundraising, I did a copy audit and found that their narrative really needed some love. It was just saying like, hey, we're launching this thing and it has all of these modules and all of these like instructors. But we didn't address that in this tough economic time, fundraising is still possible. And now is the time to invest in learning because we help make it easy with our mix of strategy, mindset, and community. And here is all of the proof of nonprofit leaders who have done fundraising during this time. So you can kind of see the difference there. One is like we launch a thing, another is like why act now and why what they want is possible. So that is the power of solid messaging and positioning. Once we pivoted that narrative for the launch, we started to see more enrollments come in. Even though it may look like the pro copywriter won the showdown, you don't have to pick sides. I'm a pro copywriter and I love using AI for copywriting because I know how to use AI strategically to get solid, conversion-driven copy that sounds like my client. When you have a copywriter like myself who is trained on the strategy piece and the AI piece, that is the magic there. That is when you get powerful copy that sounds like you and sells like crazy, but also it kind of speeds up all the process. So you can kind of get both. So yes, there is a hybrid option and I highly recommend that over the other two. So whether you're team human, team AI, or team both like I am, start with your messaging and positioning. And download the free copy starter kit at the link below. Get the messaging clarity you need to write copy that converts. Thanks so much for watching. If this hits home, give me a little thumbs up and subscribe for more copy and messaging tips. Don't miss the next video in the series where we go behind the scenes of a website go up using AI. All right, I'll see you next time.